Hello, this is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative perspective about the world around me. So social media, along with Substack, email, all of that will be provided for you. And so I'm going to run down a brief list of some of the platforms that I'm on, particularly podcast platforms. And I get to the fact that I'm on all podcast platforms. So to list briefly, Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, just to name a few. I appreciate all you listeners out there, and feedback is really important. Also, I write on Substack, and I'm looking to move on and grow with my writing. And to merge everything as a way to give different options. If you like the writing style, it's on Substack. If you like my podcast, you hear the audio podcast. And you get a different feel, get a different blend as an addition. And I'm also looking to grow and go on and expand my writing. And that's what I mean by going on. And moving towards locals and having writings on there. So I'm working on that too. And feel free to give me a rating on all of the podcast platforms that I've listed. It would be greatly important. And also, questions, comments, concerns, email me. So this episode is highlighting all of the particular artists from the regions that I mentioned, from Greece, from Portugal, and Cambodia, to give a depth of these songs and the styles of these songs, and wrap everything up and give the take of the aspects of folk music within these countries. And as I mentioned, this is the last installment, and then on Monday I'm gonna go in and talk about origins of where things come from, and then explain why things, go on to depth about that, and then go on and talk about why things become urban legends. What does that come from? And this all leads to, in the month of July, starting out with the urban legend of the Tootsie Roll. And then, as I mentioned, on Fridays, I'll dig deep within and go and talk about the regions, countries, and cities, states of all of my viewers, and to give appreciation for all of you that listen, and give the understanding and the aspect of how important it is to have the regional understanding of where people come from, where people listen to, and aspects of all of that. And then it breeds into the aspect of the American tradition of being proud of where you come from, and embracing all the differences within that. All right, here we go. Okay, so for the Greek folk artists, I'm going to focus on Nikos Xylouris. And the reason why I'm doing this is that even though he's of the traditional folk music of Greece, Greek folk tradition, his music still surpassed and lived on into the 20th century. And that's something to say about it still resurfacing and being ever-present purpose in a new age of how his music and the staples of his music is relatable onto new generations. So, he was a Greek singer, of course, a Cretan, and a player and a composer of the island of Crete. In his heyday, Ziglouris was one of the most successful Greek folk musicians. Unfortunately, he died at a relatively young age, but several of his songs have remained popular into the 21st century. In 1948, Ziglouris wanted to receive music lessons. He convinced his father to purchase the lira for him, the Cretan lira, that is, a Cretan fiddle analog. His father agreed, but warned him against becoming a professional musician because professional musicians, as he thought, were held in low esteem in rural Crete. Ziglouris thought, and that is the notion, and that is something to say about the values and the importance and the integrity and to vocations and how that relates and to different societies and to different cultures and how that relates back to how we see things in our different points of view. And it's relatable, even though some people say that, I don't know how I can relate to other things, and it just, in a sense of, it feels so distant to me, it feels so different. But with that adage that it is that the world is quite small, there are universal links that tie us together. So, for instance, things change throughout society, throughout centuries, throughout generations, but the whole, particularly what I'm focusing in on the American values of vocations, traditionally, doctors, lawyers, professions of that status are deemed more plausible than, the arts, liberal arts, things of that nature. And throughout time, things vary, and then I think it's very interesting, the rise of vocational skills, laborious skills, settled skills as far as plumbing, as far as welding, as far as things of that nature. HVAC, believe that, air conditioning, the men who work on air units, things of that nature, resurfacing itself back as a needed profession because, of course, you can't outsource that. You can't AI that out to where it's not needed. Something really interesting. And soon started performing in local festivals across Crete. He often performed as a duo with his brother, who was trained as a lute player. In 1958, Ziglouris made his first studio recordings. He recorded renditions of the song When a Woman Clad in Black Passed By and Strong Hearts Don't Cry for a vinyl single. His wife also provided support as far as vocals for both songs. The recording company had little faith in Ziglouris, the commercial potential, that is, but the single was a surprise hit. Ziglouris started regularly releasing singles and was eventually able to negotiate for more lucrative contracts. In 1967, he became the owner of his own music hall. And in '69, the Glorious gained a wider audience when his song Weaver became a countrywide hit. He soon started performing in Athens, where he could eventually move for professional reasons. Okay, so Zagloris continued working on new records until '78, enjoying commercial success. In May of '79, he unfortunately was diagnosed with lung cancer. Which, from my understanding, is just a devastating disease, and just is really is something. And still going on, and through the midst of this all, quite remarkable, within '79, Zagloris repeatedly visited New York City for his surgical operations and further treatment. His medical expenses were covered by his profits of a concert orchestrated on his behalf and because of this, the fans, and it's just quite remarkable the impact that he had for people to have the empathy and the heart to do this. It was realized that the operation had failed to improve his health. Several recordings with his songs were released during the '80s, and a number of these songs have continued to enjoy popularity for decades. Zagloris is just a true impact of this, of how, and a true reminder of how when you are when you have the foresight to see things around you, and you have the gifts and the skills and the ability to craft things to where it's relatable to people, where it breaks down to a deeper understanding of something, it's just incredible how it stands the test of time, and people just continue to relate to these things. And it's really something to say about this, that after his death, these songs were released, and it's just truly remarkable. And how in his death, the spirit of his music still lived on. There's something to say about that. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to talk about the most impactful Portuguese artists. So, Amelia Rodrigues. Amelia was part of the Fado Singers. She was known as the Queen of Fado, and was instrumental in popularizing Fado worldwide and traveled internationally throughout her career. Amelia remains the best-selling Portuguese artist in history. She advocated the restoration of the monarchy in Portugal. She was a devout Catholic, which reflected in her music. Carmen Miranda. And before I go into her impact, her lineage, her impact, I remember growing up seeing images of her, Carmen Miranda, and particularly in the movies, and the festive and the whole atmosphere of the life and the impact and the aspect of Latin culture in the 50s and how that influenced society, particularly American society at that time, and how that translated into other generations, and how that particularly stands the test of time, how things, like I mentioned with Zeke Loris, with his work, how when you do something and it has a certain impact, it still relates on the way that it still relates on to other generations. It's a constant reminder of how that foundation that you lay, of how it can take new forms throughout time, and how it becomes a legacy of importance to that person and to the family, and how that just encompass everything. Carmen Miranda is the second most famous Portuguese singer. Known professionally as Carmen Miranda, she's a dancer and an actress, and named the Brazilian Bombshell. She was known for her signature fruit hat outfit that she wore in her American films. As a young woman, Miranda designed clothes and hats in her boutique before making a debut as a singer, recording with composer Jose de Barros in 1929. Miranda's 1930 recording of Die Gustar de Mi. It's just a rough reading of it. It was written by Carvalho, catapulted her into stardom in Brazil as the foremost interpreter of samba. During the 30s, Miranda performed on Brazil's radio, appeared in 5 Brazilian films celebrating Brazilian music, dance, and the country's carnival culture. She was the first Latin American star to be invited to leave her hand and footprints in the country yard of the Chinese Theater, and was the first South American honored with the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Miranda is considered the precursor of Brazil's 1960s tropicalism culture movement. A museum was built in Rio de Janeiro in her honor, and she was the subject of the documentary Carmen Miranda, Bananas is My Business of 1995. Zeca Afonso. Zeca Afonso is the third most famous Portuguese singer. His biography has been translated in 25 different languages. Jose Manuel Alfonso de Santos is known professionally as Jose Alfonso, and also popularly known as Zeca Afonso. To add on to this, he was a Portuguese singer-songwriter. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in history of Portugal's folk and protest music scene. His music played a significant role in the resistance against the dictatorial Estado Novo regime, making him an iconic icon in Portugal. Estado Novo. Alfonso's song, Vilal Moreno, I'm reading half of it, and then Guaranola, I believe the pronunciation of that, was used as a radio broadcast signal by the Portuguese armed forces during their military coup operation in the morning of April 25th and 74, which led to the Coordination Revolution and the transition to democracy in Portugal. Subsequently, Alfonso's music, along with this song, became the embodiment of the revolution, anti-fascism, and the Portuguese labor movement and the popular left. Maria Silveira or Orifrina. Maria Silveira Orifrina is the fourth most famous Portuguese singer. Her biography has been translated into 18 different languages. Also known simply as Silveira, was a Portuguese fado singer and a guitarist. She is regarded in the short life as the first fado singer to have risen to fame, attaining nearly mythical status after her death. Fado has been described as the Portuguese expression of the blues, and fado roughly means fate. Mija is the sixth most famous Portuguese singer. Despite being a Portuguese fado singer, she has sung some of her songs in Spanish, French, Catalan, English, and even Japanese. Now, there are 32 people classified as Portuguese singers born between 1820 and 1994. Of these 32, 26%, that is, are broken down to 81.25% of them are still alive today. The most famous living Portuguese singers include Missa, Dulce Pontes, and Leo. The most famous deceased Portuguese singers include Amelia Rodrigues, Carmen Miranda, and Zeca Alfonso. As of April of 2024, 5 new Portuguese singers have been added to the list, Partidon list, including Maria Silveira Ina, Torquina, and Mario. Now, ending with Leo. So, she is the 8th most famous Portuguese singer. Leo is a Portuguese Belgian singer and actress who was a pop icon in France and Belgium during the 80s. Now, and also Salvador Sobral, I believe the pronunciation of that, ending with 10. He is the 9th most famous Portuguese singer. He is a Portuguese singer who won the Eurovision Song Contest of 2017 for Portugal with the song of Amar pelos dos. Forgive me for the pronunciation. Amar pelos dos. Written and composed by his sister. In doing so, he gave Portugal its first ever win in the contest since its debut in '64, and in the longest winless run by a country in Eurovision history for 53 years. And his entry told the Eurovision record for the highest scoring winner, having earned a total of 758 points under the current voting system, after winning both the jury vote and the televote. Okay, so here we go. Penran. Penran was another prominent figure in the 60s and 70s with the Cambodian rock scene. Known for her unique voice and charismatic stage presence, she helped popularize the unique blend of rock and traditional Khmer music that characterized the era. Rose Seri Sotha, known as the Golden Voice of Cambodia, Rose singing career in the 1960s and 1970s left an impeccable mark on the Khmer music scene. Her powerful voice and emotive voice, combined with her tragic and mysterious appearance, hold on, sweetheart, during the Khmer rule regime, has made her a legendary figure in Cambodian culture. Sin Sesamouth.
I'm hungry.
Okay, baby. Let me get you something. Hold on. Often referred to as King Khmer music, Sin Sesamouth contributions to Cambodian music are legendary. Hold on, sweetheart.
Okay.
His smooth voice and ability to blend traditional Khmer music with Western styles made him an icon. He was prolific in his output and remains a cherished figure in the Khmer music history. And so I'm going to end with a modern singer, Pinch Sophia. Often referred to as the sweetheart of Cambodia music, Pitch Sophia is known for her very methodic melody of expression, singing style. She has many prominent figures in the industry. She has been a prominent figure in the music industry for many years and continues to be a favorite among fans of all ages.
Could you give me a headband?
There's something to say about that. Yeah, headband, baby?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. All right, so this reaches the end of the Harboring Light. Tune in, turn up, and let's get on to those charted waters out there. Take care.